So who will begin with page 68?
I can go.
Okay.
Vasistha continued, in connection with this, O Rama, there is an ancient legend which I shall now narrate to you. There once lived to the north of the Himalaya mountain a terrible demoness known as Karkati. She was huge, black, and dreadful to look at. This demoness could not get enough to eat, and she was ever hungry. She thought, if only I can eat all the people living in Jambudvipa continent in one meal, then my hunger will disappear. Let me engage myself in penance, for through penance is attained that which would otherwise be extremely difficult to attain. Karkati then went up one of the snow peaks and commenced her penance. In course of time, she had grown so thin that it looked as if she was a skeleton clad in transparent skin. After 1,000 years had passed, the creator Brahma appeared before her, pleased with her penance. She bowed to him mentally. She thought, I shall request that I should become a living steel pin, Suchika, an embodiment of disease. With this boon, I shall simultaneously enter the hearts of all beings and fulfill my desire and appease my hunger. When Brahma said to her, I am pleased with your penance, ask a boon of your choice. She expressed her wish. Brahma said, so be it. You shall also be Visuchika. Remaining a subtle thing, you will inflict pain on those who eat the wrong food and indulge in wrong living by entering their heart. Immediately, O Rama, the demoness with a mountainous body began to shrink gradually to the size of a pin. She became so subtle that her existence could only be imagined. She was constantly followed by another form known as Visuchika, cholera. Though she was extremely subtle and unseen, her demoniacal mentality underwent no change at all. Visuchika was radiant and was as subtle as the aroma of flowers. Dependent upon the life force of others, she was devoted to her own work. She had gained the boon of good choice, but she could not fulfill her desire to devour all beings. That is because she was of the size of a needle. How strange! The deluded ones do not have foresight. The selfish person's violent efforts to gain his selfish ends often lead to other results. Even as a person is unable to see his face when he runs to the mirror puffing and panting, his own breath mists the mirror. Suchika entered into the physical bodies of people who, on account of previous illness, had been greatly debilitated or had become obese and transformed herself into Visuchika, cholera. Suchika entered into the heart of even a healthy and intelligent person and perverted his intellect. In some cases, however, she left that person when the latter underwent a healing treatment either with the aid of the mantra or with drugs.
Okay. What does it mean? Why is he telling us this story? The selfish person's violent efforts to gain his selfish ends often lead to other results. Even as a person is unable to see his face when he runs to the mirror, puffing and panting, his own breath mists the mirror. Yeah? There's a very simple message here. Whatever you desire, you get that. Yes, you remember what we read before? Yeah, about niyati and karma. Whatever you want comes to you. It has to come to you. Now, your message is never really clear because it's not clear in your own head. From her own greed. Her greed was what? To eat all the humans. Just see the story, okay? It may be a funny story for you, but Just see the intention. Her intention was what? Greed. There was so much greed to eat everybody and everything. Yeah. But from her greed, she intended just what? To infect everybody. And she thought that her hunger would be appeased by infecting everybody with disease. Yeah, she became the size of a needle. So her hunger was never really appeased. What he's trying to tell you here is that whatever you want comes to you. So if some dukkha is there in your life right now, some misery is there in life, it is because you asked for it. You didn't ask in the correct way. When you were asking, you thought you were asking for something good, something that would appease your hunger. But, the results are never the way you think they will be. Got it? Yeah. That is the gist of this page. The selfish person's violent efforts to gain his selfish end often leads to other results. Yeah, that is the sutra which is on the top of the page. Clear? We'll go ahead.
You should write a synopsis book. You explain it so well. Reading the whole page, I couldn't understand what you just read.
Okay, so page 69.
Vasistha continued. Suchika had her numerous hiding places. Among them were dust and dirt on the ground, unclean fingers, threads in a cloth, within one's body in the muscles, dirty skin covered with dust, unclean furrows on the palms and on other parts of the body due to senility, places where flies abound, in a lustreless body, in places full of decaying leaves, in places devoid of healthy trees, in people of filthy dress, people of unhealthy habits, in tree stumps caused by deforestation in which flies breed, in puddles of stagnant water, in polluted water, in open sewers running in the middle of roads, in rest houses used by travelers, and in those cities where there are many animals like elephants, horses, etc. Unharmed and unprovoked by others, Suchika works for the destruction and death of others. Known also as Jiva Suchika, she moves in all beings as the life force with the help of prana and apana, subjecting the jiva to sorrow by causing terribly sharp pain of gout, rheumatism, which makes one lose his mind. She enters into the feet like a needle and drinks blood. Like all wicked people, she rejoices in others' sorrow. As Vasistha was saying this, the sun set and another day came to an end. The assembly adjourned for prayers. The next day, Vasistha continued. After living in this manner for a long, long time, the demoness Karkati was thoroughly disillusioned and repented her foolish desire to devour people, which entails severe penance for 1,000 years and a degraded existence as a needle in cholera virus. She thus bewailed her own self-inflicted misfortune. Alas, where is my mountainous body, and where is the form of a needle? Alas, I am lost. I have surely lost my mind and my senses. The mind that is heading towards calamity first creates delusion and wickedness, and these themselves later expand into misfortune and sorrow. I am never free, ever at the mercy of others. I am in the hands of others and do what they make me do. I desire to appease the goblin of a desire to devour all, but that has led to a remedy worse than the disease, and a greater goblin has arisen. Surely I am a brainless fool. Hence I threw away such a great and gigantic body and deliberately chose this despicable body of a virus or a needle. At once Karkati abandoned all wish to devour living beings and went to the Himalaya. Standing if on one foot, she began her penance. Karkati's whole being became completely purified by this penance, and she gained the highest wisdom. The energy of her penance set the Himalaya on fire, as it were. Indra, the king of heaven, learned from the sage Narada of Karkati's unprecedented undertaking.
Okay. So again, the gist of this page is we go through many lifetimes because of our own desires. Yeah, and then one point comes, in the flow of time when you recognize, oh, what have I been doing? Yes. You understood from Leela's story, no? Any birth that you take is out of your desire. You had the desire to be Rupa, so you came in that body. Yeah, before you were Rupa, you had some other body, and that also was because of your desire. And before that, there was another body, and that was also because of your desire. So it is your own desires that take you from one lifetime into another, into another. And this is all dukkha. Yeah? Lord Buddha also said, everything is dukkha. Sarvam evam dukkham. Yeah? There is no joy here. There is no pleasure. Recognize this. So this is what happened to Karkati. She realized, oh, what have I done to myself? And then she went into a penance of 1,000 years. And we will go ahead and see how all the gods were happy with her penance and what happened. Yeah. Who will read next? Page 70.
I can read. God, to find out the exact spot where Suchika dwelt. In the Himalaya, Vayu saw the ascetic Suchika standing like another peak of mountain. She had become almost completely dried up. When Vayu, wind, entered her mouth, she threw it out again and again. She had withdrawn her life force to the crown of her head and stood as a perfect yogini. Vayu forthwith returned to heaven, where he reported to Indra. Thereupon, Indra went to Brahma, and in answer to his prayer, Brahma went to where Suchika was engaged in penance. In the meantime, Suchika had become totally pure by her penance. She had gained direct knowledge of the supreme causeless cause of all by her own examination of the intelligence within her. Surely, direct inquiry into all the movements of thought in one's own consciousness is the supreme guru or preceptor. O Rama and no one else. Rama said to her, ask a boon. She reflected within herself. I have reached the realization of the absolute. What shall I do with the boons? Brahma said, the eternal world order cannot be set aside. O ascetic, and it decrees that you should regain your previous body, live happily for a long time, and then attain liberation. You will live an enlightened life, afflicting only the wicked and the sinful, and causing the least harm, and that too only to appease your natural hunger. Suchika accepted what Brahma had said. In her former demoniacal form, she experienced hunger for as long as the body lasts. It is subject to its own physical laws, including hunger and thirst. She heard an aerial voice say, O Karkati, approach ignorant and deluded people and awaken wisdom in them. This indeed is the only mission of the enlightened beings. One whom you thus endeavor to enlighten is fit for your redemption. You shall incur no sin if devouring such an ignorant person. Here hill tribes and hunters dwell. In that region there was a king known as Vikram. As was sister, went out into the dense darkness of the night to protect his subjects by subduing robbers and dacoits. Kakati saw these two men. She reflected, surely these two men have come here to appease my hunger. Such ignorant people suffer here and hereafter. Suffering is the only mission in their life. Death unto them is a welcome release from such suffering. And it is possible that after death they will awake and seek their salvation. Ah, but it may be that they are both wise men, and I do not like to kill wise men. For whoever wishes to enjoy unalloyed happiness, fame and long life should by all means honor and worship good men by giving them all that they might wish to have. Let me therefore test their wisdom. If they are wise, I shall not harm them. Wise men, good men are indeed great benefactors of humanity.
Okay. So what is the gist of this page? What is the gist?
Meditate and get enlightened.
Beautiful. Anybody can get enlightened. Yeah, as long as you wake up, you just wake up and recognize, oh, what have I been doing? Yes, it does not matter what kind of karmas you created and what you did in the past lifetimes. It does not matter. Yeah, that one moment of your light bulb coming on, waking up is required. That's it. Yeah. So those who think, oh, I've done a lot of sins. How will I get enlightened? Yeah, drop all these things from your head. And
can I just confirm something? So when going back to some things we read in the past, we almost choose, right, the form we're going to take because we're still a part of that consciousness. So Karkati basically got attracted, like her karma bag, and she kind of got attracted by those impressions, and that's kind of why she took on that form, right?
Right.
And
see,
so,
there are two aspects. Na? One aspect we discussed last time was that because of some past impression, I get propelled in one direction.
Exactly.
Yeah. But again, now when I'm propelled in this direction, I have the free will of using my viveka and choosing right over wrong.
Right.
Yeah. So what did she do? She chose that
Wrong,
which came from greed. Yeah, anything from greed is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way she went.
Exactly. Which is why anybody can, because we are also part of that consciousness, even if it's an evil form.
Absolutely. So your previous karma will propel you in a particular direction, but it is up to you, whether you create agami karma or not. It is up to you to stop this. And that's exactly what she did. She stopped. Yeah. All that saying that she stopped her life force and she would not breathe and she didn't do anything and she did a penance for 1,000 years. This is a way of saying that, she decided this is it, enough. There is something higher, something better. And through her penance, that realization came. This is the best way to get realized or enlightened. Through your own inner understanding when it comes. That is the highest form of a guru, you yourself. Yeah. So that's what happened to Karkati. That's the gist of this page. Yeah. Then she just sees a king and a minister, and then she is just wondering whether she should eat them up or she should, just check if they are wise or not. And then the story continues. Yeah, how she tests the king and the minister. Who will read page 71 now?
I can read. Karkati shouted, "Hey, you two little worms roaming this dense forest, who are you? Tell me quick, or else I shall devour you." The king and the minister beheld her dreadful form, And without being perturbed in the very least, the minister said to her, "O demoness, why are you so angry? To seek food is natural to all living beings, and in performing one's natural functions, one need not be bad tempered. Even selfish ends are gained by the wise by appropriate means and appropriate behavior or action after they give up anger and mental agitation and resort to equanimity and clear mind. We have seen thousands of insects like you and have dealt justly with them, for it is the duty of a king to punish the wicked and protect the good. Give up your anger and achieve your end by resorting to tranquility. Such indeed is appropriate conduct, whether one is able to achieve one's ambition or not. One should remain peaceful. Ask of us what you will have, for we have never turned a beggar away empty-handed." Prakati greatly admired the courage and wisdom of the two men. She thought, "Let me utilize this opportunity to clear the doubts that are in my mind. But he is surely a fool who, having the company of a wise man, neglects to clear his doubts." She said to them, "If you too are men not possessed of self-knowledge, then in accordance with my inherent nature I shall devour you both. In order to determine this, I shall ask you some questions. Give me the right answers. O king, what is it that is one and yet is many, and in which millions of universes merge? What is that? What is it that is pure space, though it appears to be not so? What is it that is me in you and that is you in me? What is it that moves yet does not move? What is it that is a rock, though conscious? And what plays wonderful tricks in empty space? What is it that is not the sun and the moon and fire yet eternally shines? What is that atom that seems to be far and yet so near? What is it that is of the nature of consciousness and yet is not knowable? What is it that is all and yet is not any of these? What is it that thought it is the very self of all, is veiled by ignorance and is regained after many lifetimes of intense and persistent effort? What is it that is atomic and yet contains a mountain within it, and that transforms the three worlds into a blade of grass? What is it that without ever renouncing its atomic nature appears to be bigger than the biggest mountain? What is it, that atom in which the entire universe rests like a seed during the cosmic dissolution? What is it that is responsible for the function of all the elements in the universe, though it does nothing at all? Of what are the seer, the sight, and the seeing made? What is it that veils and reveals the threefold manifestation? In what is the apparent threefold division of time established? And what is it that comes into manifestation and vanishes alternately? That was a tongue twister.
What is it?
Consciousness.
So what is the gist of this page? So basically the gist of this page is in the bold letters again. Yeah, of course she's testing them how much they understand the Brahman and the consciousness. But before that, in the bold, even selfish ends are gained by the wise, by appropriate means and appropriate behavior or action. After they give up anger and mental agitation and resort to equanimity and a clear mind. How can you relate this to Ashtavakra? Tell me. Any action that you do, it has to have some balance. What was that balance? Do you remember? Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. Remember? Yes, I follow my nature. Yeah. Anything that I do out of my nature is going to be spontaneous. Yeah, I'm going to be equanimous. Yeah. Artha, it has to be in an appropriate means. Yeah. Appropriate means, appropriate behavior is dharma. Appropriate means is artha. Action, whatever action I am doing. And it obviously comes out of a desire, kama. And what is moksha? After I complete the action, how should I be? Should I keep thinking about it again and again? Oh, I should have done this, I should have done that.
Drop it.
Yes, moksha. Got it? That is a mind which is free of mental agitation and is equanimous. Same thing that Ashtavakra taught you, same thing Yoga Vasistha is teaching you. If you can maintain your DAKM balance, any action, anything that you desire will come to you. This is clear? We've discussed this n number of times, no? So now Karkati decides to test them. Let me see how much knowledge does this king and this wise minister of his really have. And she asks so many questions. And the questions, only the answer is really there. Only a fool will really miss it.
Yeah, that's so true.
A wise man will know the answer just by reading the questions. So now let's go ahead and see what the minister answers. Who will read now?
I can read.
Yeah.
The minister replied, I shall surely answer your questions, O lady, for that to which all your questions refer is the Supreme Self. That Self is subtler than even space, since it has no name and cannot be described, and neither the mind nor the senses can reach it or comprehend it. It is pure consciousness. The entire universe exists in the consciousness that is atomic, even as a tree exists within the seed. But then the universe exists as consciousness and does not exist as the universe. That consciousness exists, however, because such is the experience of all, and since it alone is the self of all, since it is, all else is. That self is empty like space, but it is not nothingness, since it is consciousness. It is, yet because it cannot be experienced by the mind and senses, it is not. It being the self of all, it is not experienced as the object of experience by anyone. Though one, it is reflected in the infinite atoms of existence and hence appears to be many. This appearance is, however, unreal, even as bracelet is an imaginary appearance of gold, which alone is real. But the self is not unreal. It is not a void or nothingness, for it is the self of all, and it is the very self of one who says it is, and of one who says or thinks it is not. Moreover, its existence can be experienced indirectly, just as the existence of camphor can be experienced by its fragrance. It alone is the self of all as consciousness, and it alone is the substance that makes the world appearance possible. In that infinite ocean of consciousness, whirlpools known as the three worlds arise spontaneously and naturally, even as whirlpools are caused by the very nature of the running water. Because this consciousness is beyond the reach of the mind and the senses, it seems to be a void. But since it can be known by self-knowledge, it is not a void. On account of the indivisibility of consciousness, I am you and you are me. But the indivisible consciousness itself has become neither I nor you. When the wrong notions of you and I are given up, there arises the awareness that there is neither you nor I nor everything. Perhaps it alone is everything. The self, being infinite, moves not
though moving, and yet is forever established in every atom of existence. The self does not go, nor does it ever come, for space and time derive their meaning from consciousness alone. Where can self go when all that is within it? If a pot is taken from one place to another, the space within does not move from one place to another, for everything is forever in space.
Beautiful
So that's a
description.
summary of all that we read
Yeah.
so far, like summarizing all the different pages we read.
Yes, yes. Yeah, it's so beautifully described, no?
Yep.
Space is not indivisible. There is no I, there is no you. Yeah. And it is not nothingness, because this knowledge is there. Yeah. This consciousness, everything has come out of it, everything goes back into it. So it is not nothingness. Yeah. But at the same time, you cannot say that all this universe is consciousness only. And we look at the bold, the sutra. It is not a void or nothingness, for it is the self of all. And it is the very self of one who says it is, and of one who says or thinks it is not. It doesn't matter whether you are a believer or a non-believer. You are still the same consciousness, the self. You come out of it, you go into it. Therefore, it cannot be said it is a void or nothingness.
Should I continue?
Yeah.
Alright. The minister continued, the self which is of the nature of pure consciousness seems to be inert and insentient when it is apparently associated with inertia. In the infinite space, this infinite consciousness had made infinite objects appear. Though all of this seems to have been done, such effect being a mere fancy, nothing has been done. Hence, it is both consciousness and inertia, the doer and the non-doer.
Is this paragraph clear?
Let's say that everything is like imagination. It's like it's not real. It's come out from that imagination.
Beautiful. Yeah. Just like Leela was dreaming, yeah, and again there was another dream in a dream and another dream in a dream, and everything manifested in it. Yeah. One body manifested, and that body started dreaming of another lifetime, another body, being a king or a queen, and then that manifested, and then again that king and queen started dreaming of more richness, more kingdom, more money, and then another body came out of it. But in reality, all this is just a dream. Yeah? That is what is the gist of the first paragraph. It is only a fancy, it does not exist. Yeah? That is why you can call the consciousness inertia also. Yeah? And that is why you can say it is both a doer and a non-doer. Because of this dream within a dream within a dream. You think you are doing, but actually there is nothing done. Nothing is really happening. Here? Yeah. Next paragraph.
The reality in fire is this self or consciousness. Yet the self does not burn, nor is it burnt. It is the reality in all and infinite. It is the eternal light which shines in the sun, the moon, and the fire, but independent of them. It shines even when these have set. It illumines all from within all. It alone is the intelligence that indwells even trees, plants, and creepers, and preserves them. That self, or infinite consciousness, is, from the ordinary point of view, the creator, the protector, and the overlord of all. And yet, from the absolute point of view, in reality, being the self of all, it has no such limited roles. There is no world independent of is consciousness. Hence, even the mountains are in the atomic self. In it arises the fantasies of of a moment and of an epoch, and these appear to be real timescales, even as objects seen in a dream appear to be real at that time. Within the twinkling of an eye there exists an epoch, even as a whole city is reflected in a small mirror. Such being the case, how can one assert the reality of either duality or non-duality? This atomic self or infinite consciousness alone appears to be a moment or an epoch, near and far, and there is nothing apart from it. And these are not mutually contradictory in themselves.
Okay. These two paragraphs are also very simple. Yeah, he's talking on the same lines. Yeah, just like when you are dreaming. Yeah, if you are sleeping, yeah, you dream that you are suddenly in India. Yeah, there is nothing like distance. There is no logic. Oh, I am so many miles away from India. But in your dream, in a moment, you are in India. So there's nothing like near and far. Yeah, it's exactly like that. Yeah. If this moment you were to wake up, you would recognize, oh, I was dreaming. It is as simple as that. Yeah. So that's exactly what he's saying here. There is no duality, there is no non-duality. There is nothing like near, there is nothing like far. Yeah? It is all a fancy, it is all your fantasy, and you are just lost in that. Yeah? There is no moment, there is nothing like an epoch, yeah? There is nothing like time.
Right? As long as one sees the bracelet as a bracelet, it is not seen as gold. But when it is seen that bracelet is just a word and not the reality, the gold is seen. Even so, when the world is assumed to be real, the self is not seen. But when the assumption is discarded, consciousness is realized. It is the all, hence real. It is not experienced, hence unreal. What appears to be is but the jugglery of Maya, which creates a division in consciousness into subject and object. It is as real as the dream city. It is neither real nor unreal, but a long-standing illusion. It is the assumption of division that creates diversity, right from the creator Brahma down to the little insect. Just as in a simple seed, the diverse characteristics of the tree remain at all times, even so, this apparent diversity exists in the self at all times, but as consciousness.
Yeah, the bold is very important. Yeah, that's a very beautiful sutra. As long as one sees the bracelet as a bracelet, it is not seen as gold. But when it is seen that the bracelet is just a word and not the reality, then gold is seen. Yeah. Even so, when the world is assumed to be real, the self is not seen. But when this assumption is discarded, consciousness is realized. Yeah. It's just like you are pretending to be asleep right now. No, I'm not ready to wake up. I love this dream. Your eyes are closed. You just don't want to wake up. It's as simple as that. The moment you open your eyes and see, you will recognize all that was just a dream. Yeah. Stop pretending. I've told you this before. Your mind loves this Maya. Recognize this. Yeah. Maya is awesome. It's so beautifully designed. It is actually Karkati. It has devoured you. Yeah. You are in its stomach right now. Yeah. You're really trying hard to get out of there. Yeah. Maya is beautiful. Yeah. But recognize this. Wake up. Yeah. In few moments, you can put the mind aside for some time, the mind shuts up. In those moments, you do experience the self. It does not have to be only in meditation, huh? It happens even just in activity. Yeah? Those few moments you have really lived. You're really there in the present moment. Otherwise, we are just running. It's a very nice word in Hindi. It's said andhadhund. I don't know how to translate this into English, Literally blindfolded, you are running, just walking, running behind this desire of the mind, that desire of the mind, and then this and then that. It is just one desire after another. Have you noticed? An entire day, whatever your waking hours are, 10, 15, 20, how many hours you're awake. Have you noticed? From moment to moment to moment, it's just one desire after another desire after another desire. Yeah. And we just run our lives running from one desire, then fulfilling this, going to the next, fulfilling that, going to the next, fulfilling that, going to the next. We keep running. Life has become a running race. And why? Because we are caught up in this Maya. It's as simple as waking up. Open your eyes and see. Yeah. It is not a bracelet, it is gold. It's as simple as that. Wake up and see. This samsara does not exist. It's not real. That's exactly what he's saying here. Very beautifully he's described that this consciousness is in everything. Everything is also because of it. Yeah? But we are so lost in this Maya that we cannot see it. So wake up.
I have a question.
Huh.
Right. So, okay, let's agree that this is all a dream. But they talk about the consciousness is definitely in all living things. Is there that same bit of Plato in man-made objects?
Oh yes, absolutely. We have discussed this, no? Consciousness is in everything, whether living or non-living.
I mean, okay. What about this pen though?
Yes, of course. It might be at 0.0000001%, but it is still there.
But even the stapler?
Yes.
I mean, it's something we talked about. It's there in Cosmos and One, right? When the universe began, there's not human life. They're all other stuff. And if you look at the materials, there are oxygen, carbon, nitrogen, that other things are made of. And guess what? We are also made of the same element.
Exactly.
So there's always consciousness in all those elements. Is that we are a complicated form of the elements. We are also mainly carbon, oxygen, nitrogen.
Even what is man-made is derived from the same elements.
Same elements.
Absolutely. Perfect.
So even the consciousness is made of these same elements.
Now understand, consciousness is what? Consciousness itself divided into these elements. Consciousness said, I am earth, and became earth element. I'm not talking about planet earth, I'm talking about the earth element. Yes? Consciousness itself said, I am space. Consciousness itself generated Maya and got lost in its own Maya. That is a sutra from the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah? That I arise out of my own Maya, I create everything out of my own Maya, and then I dissolve completely. There is dissolution of all this Maya. But all this does not really exist. Yeah? Everything, earth, water, fire, ether and air. These are the 5 elements. Everything and everybody is made out of that. Whether it is a whiteboard, whether it is a wall, whether it is a lamp, a pen, a stapler, or Mohit or Mitesh. Living or non-living, everything is just the 5 elements. The permutations and combination of these 5 elements decide whether it is non-living or living, whether it is breathing or not breathing. Yeah. Yeah. Mohit,
Yes.
he's still wondering.
Yeah.
In cosmos itself, it has been explained, na? For millions of years on the cosmic calendar, there was no life. There was just planets and asteroids and comets and whatever, earth element all around the universe and fire element, something exploding. A planet where there was only sulfuric acid and the planet where there was only methane and what is shown, right? Yeah. Initially, there was no life for millions and millions and millions of years. And then suddenly there was some life on the planet. Yeah. So understand this. This non-living object that you call a pen has consciousness in it. Yeah. Or I should say consciousness has manifested as that pen.
But then is this all consciousness because it has no mind?
Okay, consciousness does not have to have a mind that says, okay, I am a pen. Okay, this is our limited understanding. Yeah, because we have a very limited view of the universe and that's how it exists for us. Yes, but there's something beyond these walls which you and I cannot perceive till the time we are limited in this body, or our understanding is limited to this body. Yeah, till the time Leela thought that she was this body, she could not really go beyond and experience the other realm. The moment Saraswati gave her that boon and that understanding, she was able to see that I am not this body. And then she could go beyond the physical realm and she could go into the various universes and the rest of the story. Yeah. It is the moment I drop this limitation that has been created by this Prakriti. Yeah. That is the first step. That itself is in this sutra. Yeah. Drop this understanding, drop thinking that this is a bracelet. Then only will you see it as gold. Yeah. You have put a condition, no, I want to see the gold first. Drop this condition. Yeah. At a subtle level, you have this. You don't recognize it right now. Yeah. But at a very subtle level, you have it. That it should come to me. Yeah. It says, no, first you drop this universe, this Maya, this Vishwam that you are stuck in. Yeah. And then it'll automatically, you will see that everything is consciousness. Yes?
Would it be easier to understand, like how you said, right? Brahman divided itself as Prakriti and Purusha. Prakriti is the 5 elements and Purusha is the self.
Yeah.
And the proportions in living and non-living are different of that Brahman.
Yes. Yeah. If that is easier to understand it like that. Yeah. If you want to say, oh, there is 100% Purusha here and 0.001% here, fine. Yeah, but understand that it is in everything and everyone. Yeah. You remember the units of life we did? Guruji had done it in the Upanishads. Yes. Even stones have a unit of life. Stone is a non-living object, right? How many units of life did Guruji say it has? Who remembers? Yeah, 1 unit of life. Yes, even a non-living object has life. And what is this life? That consciousness. Yes.
So if I wanted to add some more, like your pen, if you go into atomic levels, it has got nucleus and electrons. They're actually all moving. You don't really see it, but all the atoms inside are either vibrating or electrons are moving around the nucleus. So it's there, it's moving, and that's your energy right there that the pen has. Right? So if you look at atomic structure, you'll see vibrations, forces, movement within it. When you look at the pen from outside, you think it's lifeless, but go to its atoms, you'll see a lot of movement.
Yes, that exactly is quantum mechanics. That's why, guys, I keep urging you, please watch those 3 videos. You will understand how a non-living object like a phone also has so much activity going on. There's energy there. Yeah, very beautifully put, Prashanjit. Yeah. So watch those 3 videos. However boring it is, doesn't matter. Yeah. Don't give the mind too much importance. The mind will say, oh, this is boring. Let's just go chill out. Let me go and sleep. Yeah. Tell the mind, shut up. Yeah. Learn to tell your mind, shut up now. Yeah. So, even at the atomic level, there is lot of activity. That itself is the consciousness or Purusha. Yes? Yeah. This page is clear? Everything till the end? Yeah, the last paragraph is, it is all Maya. Okay, so from the next page, Karkati now starts testing the king. Okay, so this will be your homework. You read page 74 and 75. What does the king answer to the same questions? Yeah, and then we will begin from the son's story. Yeah, that will be page 76. We'll begin after that. So your homework is page 74 and 75. You can read 76 also till half the page. Yeah, and then stop. We'll begin on page 76. Okay? And please watch those 3 science videos. It will become very, very clear to you how Purusha or the Brahman consciousness exists even in a non-living object, even at the atomic level. And lots of other things will become clear when you watch the quantum mechanics videos. It becomes very clear, it is explained scientifically how something, when you observe it, is different from the moment you are not observing it. Yeah, that's amazing. That's exactly what led to quantum mechanics. The birth of quantum mechanics was that experiment. It's called the double slit experiment. Yeah. In that, very clearly it is explained that when you are looking a particular object or the room and the lamp and the furniture is the way you expect it to be. But the moment your eyes are closed, it is different. It behaves in a different manner. Yeah? This is so amazing, no? Now at least pick up those 3 videos and start watching it. Yeah? All good? Okay. So read the 2 pages and watch the 3 videos. This is your homework. Yeah? And I'll see you next Wednesday. Jai Gurudev.